Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. Hope you guys are doing well. Every time I move, there's a little bit of a shadow. I try not to move so much. I think it's that microphone. Anyway, guys, how you doing? Hope you're all well. Let's get a slightly better position. Massive bumper, mega, call it what you want. There's a big update tonight. Lots and lots of different little articles I've seen, listened to on the radio, read articles, listened to people. And got some tidbits here and there. Tons and tons and tons of stuff. I'm going to start off, guys, with some housekeeping. Hi, GSJ. If you're new to the channel, it would be amazing if you could support us simply by subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. We put out videos every single day. There's always at least one. Hi, Alex, and hi, Beyond Notre Gaming. There's always at least one video a day. Normally, we do a live stream almost every single day, around 9 p.m. in the UK. Today, for instance, we've done a video on Jolson Fernandes, a transfer rumour, transfer gossip, plenty of news about that in the papers. So we've done a transfer target on him. Also, today, you would have seen the preview to the Lyon game, the Champions League game against Lyon, which is on at the weekend. So that preview has come out today with the guys from the Lyon Dunners, Lyon fans living in London, French guys, nice guys, Thibaut and Julien. We had good old chats. That was out today. So every day you're going to get at least 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 videos. It just depends what's going down at the time. So what we're going to talk about today. Okay, here's the list. I've had to write it down. There's just so many. We've got Koulibaly, Thiago Alcantara, David Silva, PFA Player of the Season. Lyon being unhappy with the Champions League ref. The Premier League start date has been confirmed. Something about the FA Cup replays, that bit them being scrapped. Carabao Cup, a City going to be in it. Rayan Nouri, price has been set. Scott Carson, what's happening with him? Wolves, and they actually want to select who they're going to play on the opening day of the season. Liverpool's new kit. I just thought we'll say that. Aguero, what's his fitness update? Paulo Dybala, some news on him. Diego Rosa, someone you've never heard of, I guess. Wale Musa Ali, Jolson Fernandes, Douglas Luiz, Angelino. And at the end, or not some point, probably early, we're going to talk chocolate. We're going to talk chocolate. We're going to talk Cadbury's and their sponsorship at City. Go through yesterday. To be honest, Haj, I'm not so sure. I think we'll be better prepared for someone like PSG than we would have been for Atalanta. Atalanta, they're a good team. They're good enough to go through. They were injury time away from going through yesterday. And as if you watch the Lyon video I did that was out today, anybody who gets to this stage, the quarterfinals or around that level, the quarterfinals, they've got to have had something about them. Atalanta were quite enterprising against City. Okay, we won both games, I think, but they were quite enterprising, and they're quite exciting. And anything can happen. Any team that gets this far can win it. Same as I said to the Lyon guys. Lyon are 3 games away from winning the Champions League. It's the format now. The knockout format is so advantageous to teams like Lyon, like Atalanta, who just have to sparkle and just get through one game. Get a goal like Atletico probably want to do. Get a goal, sit back and defend. Knowing it's only 90 minutes, and you don't have to go to the other team's home ground with even without baying fans and do the business over there. So it's not easy. Cameron wants to know about whether we keep Angelino. We'll talk about him in a bit. Wassa talking about Upamecano looking great in this game. Well, Angelino's playing as well. How does he look? I'm not obviously watching the game. I think that's affecting our live views, actually, and the fact that interesting games of football are still being played. But hey, this is our time. This is our 9 o'clock slot. so can't really let it ride till 10 o'clock. There's people, in Europe, for instance, who watch, people in miles away, in India who watch. And, obviously if I did a stream at 10 o'clock, so we avoid the fault, these guys are going to suffer. Let's have a quick drink and then we'll get cracking. Right. As usual, I'm going to go bang through a load of articles, a load of topics. I'm going to go through them very quickly, okay? And then I'll come back to you. So it's up to you. You can put stuff there, but I might not read it all very quickly. Okay, let's just take them as they come. Let's do that chocolate one first. Okay, Cadbury's. Cadbury's have teamed up with Man City. Now, I think Cadbury's are owned by Mondelez, people who do Toblerone. And do they do what other stuff they do? Ferrero Rocher, I think they do them. But anyway, Mondelez International, Cadbury's business has agreed a deal with Man City to become the football club's official snacking partner. The initial focus of the type will be on celebrating worthy causes, individuals and businesses who have gone above and beyond during the coronavirus pandemic. The first collaboration between the two brands will see Cadbury's champion the club's citizens, its network of global supporters. Citizens from around the world will be given a platform to nominate people, community initiatives, and local businesses that they'd like to recognise for their acts of kindness, generosity, and support of those around them over the course of the upcoming 2020-21 season. So you want to go and check that out, guys. That's Cadbury's involved with Man City. A bit more sponsorship there into City's pockets. Talking about money coming into City, I did a video, was it yesterday, about Douglas Luiz, talking about do we, exercise our buyback clause this summer? Do we do it next summer? I think next summer's the last one. I heard the number of 25 million quid if you exercise it this summer, 30 million quid if you exercise it next summer. Now, Douglas Luiz basically was Aston Villa's star performer after the restart, and his I'm just reading this, and this is from Birmingham Live. Okay, now City are going to get £1 million from Aston Villa because I think it's because they stayed up. I think that was the bonus of them staying up. Let's have a look what this article says. I mean, it's interesting that I talked a lot about Douglas Luiz yesterday, and suddenly everybody else is talking about Douglas Luiz. It seems, maybe it's just a coincidence, but it seems to have been picked up. Now, going through some of the quick details, Douglas Luiz is a defensive midfielder. City bought him for about £10.5 million from Vasco da Gama in Brazil. They sent him back on loan to Girona to start with. Tried to get him a work permit, couldn't get a work permit because he hadn't played enough. He hadn't played for the Brazilian national team, and we weren't going to play him a lot at all. So he went back on loan to Girona, played 38 league games in the space of 2 seasons. And City wanted him again. Pep really, really wanted him. He really values him highly. Couldn't get him again because of the work permit. Same situation. So we sold him to Villa, who could get a work permit because they said they're going to play him in their games. They played 30-odd games for them. So, they were true to their word. Now, apparently the buyback clause is 25 million this summer. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be exercised. I think if it's going to be done in the next summer, unless somebody comes in to buy Douglas Luiz. For instance, if someone wants to buy Douglas Luiz for 40 million quid and City hear about it, I think they'll buy Douglas Luiz back for 25 and flog him on for 40. Anyway, it's been revealed that the deal was edged into that £1 million was a survival bonus if the youngster helped Villa secure the Premier League status, which of course they did on the final day of the season. So, there's been a reported on an update that will delights Villa supporters. Our City boss Guardiola has no plans to exercise a buyback clause option for Douglas Luiz. The £25 million clause expires next summer. So, maybe I was wrong. I read somewhere that there was 25 million this summer, 30 next summer. It might just be 25. This is what Birmingham Live are saying. and over the course of next season, the City hierarchy will keep close tabs on Villa's most improved performer. As for Douglas, the midfielder enjoyed a successful spell throughout Villa's final 10 games of Project Restart and was lauded by head coach Dean Smith for the way he adapted to the demands of the Premier League after a somewhat slow start. So, I mean, a lot of that was his English. He said it himself. He worked hard in his English. There's a lot of stuff. If you want to go and read more about Douglas Luiz, you can see that on Birmingham Live. Let's move on. I'm just going to miss that story out. PFA Player of the Season, Player of the Year, Raheem Sterling and Kevin De Bruyne have been nominated. 2019-20 PFA Premier League Fans Player of the Year. Okay, be interesting to see what happens. You'll get some of the usual suspects: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kevin De Bruyne, Sadio Mane, Raheem Sterling, Virgil van Dijk, and Jamie Vardy. It's good to see. It really is good to see that the fans recognise that Jordan Henderson shouldn't be anywhere near a player of any season. Okay, Jordan Henderson should not be anywhere near. I'm a bit surprised Virgil van Dijk gets in. You can say whatever you like about them, but Liverpool, they conceded, was it 2 fewer goals than City? 2 or 3? It's no big deal. I think, honestly, if you're looking at that list, it's got to be KDB all day long. We'll see what transpires with that. Should we move on? Let's see if I can move on to the next article. Okay, I'm going to talk about someone you've probably never heard of. Right now, this is in all Nigerian soccer. I mean, I'm trawling the internet to get stuff about City. They've exclusively reported that English Premier League side Manchester City are keeping tabs on highly rated Nigerian winger Wale Musa Ali with a view to a transfer in the future. Now, Ali currently plays for Austrian Division 2 side SKU Amstetten. He joined them from Estonian outfit Kalev Tallinn in February 2020. That's this season. Now, Man City talent spotters apparently scouted the promising teenager. He's 19 years old. Several times during his time in Estonia, and I've also asked for a second opinion on the player. Now, he's tipped as a one for the future. He was involved in 14 goals, that's 10 goals and 4 assists, from 35 matches for Kalev Tallinn, including a hat-trick against JK Volta II, and has already opened his goal-scoring account for his Austrian club. Now, according to a City scout, Ali possesses all the characteristics they are looking for in a winger, and he's been likened to England star Raheem Sterling due to his playing style and small stature. Okay, just because you're small doesn't mean like someone else. The 19-year-old is fast, strong, changes direction with ease, draws a lot of fouls, and has excellent movement with or without the ball. Ali has a contract with SKU Amstetten until the end of the 2022 season. Okay, so that's an interesting one, but for me, it's some way off. You know, he's doing that in the Estonian league and now the Austrian league. It's not big enough for me, guys. Diego Rosa, we talked about him. Apparently, it's almost done and dusted. City have nearly wrapped up the signing of Diego Rosa. Only apparently bureaucratic details to be sorted before the Brazilian, wunderkind. Germans call it wunderkind. That's why I said German. Wunderkid joins the Premier League giants. Now he's going to start upfront £4.5 million payment. That's not a lot, but I think there's up to 14 clauses in his contract. Okay, City could end up paying well over 20 million if he hits them all. I think the biggest is the 12 million if he signs for City or any Premier League club. 12 million quid. That's a huge amount. And then there's, I guess, appearances and goals or whatever. Lots of bits and pieces. Lots of clauses in his contract. He's not going to come to City. He's not even 18, so he can't even come to Europe, I don't believe, till he's 18, which is in October. And he's initially going to be loaned to L'Omelesque, our sister club at Club City in Belgium, once his transfer is formally completed. That's Diego Rosa. Should we go on? Lyon, apparently, according to the Daily Mirror, are going to protest over Man City's Champions League quarter-final referee. They ain't happy. They ain't happy at all. Okay. Lyon may launch a protest to UEFA after Dutch referee Danny Makele was put in charge of the Champions League quarterfinal clash with City. The French club have to be crowned European champions to qualify for next season's tournament after finishing 7th in League 1 when the COVID-19 pandemic halted the campaign. I talked about that months and months ago. I also talked about it on the interview with the French guys for the Lyon preview. Now, Lyon's elimination on Saturday night would see Ajax qualify automatically for the group stages of the Champions League. That would be worth £100 million to the Amsterdam club, apparently. Now, if the French club win, then Ajax would go into a playoff. Now, apparently, questions are already being asked in both France and Holland about the wisdom of putting a Dutch referee in charge of a game that could have huge financial ramifications on a club from his own country. Was it Martin Jol? Let's have a look. I think it was Martin Jol said, UEFA should not put Danny Makele in this position, never. Can you imagine the French newspapers? They're going to be dishing it out about him taking charge of the game before a ball has been kicked. Financially and in a sporting way, there is so much at stake in this game. Makele is not to blame. I don't doubt his integrity for 1 second. He has a massive reputation with UEFA and he is making an international career in a great way. But what happens if he gives a penalty to City late in the game and if City win? Fingers will get pointed at him. Makele, 37, is a former police officer who became a full-time referee 10 years ago. He's regarded as the world's best VAR official after being given the role for the 2018 World Cup final. There is a precedent for referees being changed for big European games. 1994 Dutch official John Blankenstein was replaced by Englishman Philip Dom for the Champions League final between AC Milan and Barcelona. No official reason was given for the switch, but it is believed that Milan were not happy about having a Dutchman in charge for a game that could see Johan Cruyff coaching a Barcelona team that included Ronald Koeman. I mean, they call him a cheats. It's ridiculous. Let's come to see what you guys are saying, because I know there's loads of stuff, and I will come back to the other topics. See, loads of stuff there, guys. You guys didn't even wait. I know you guys won't wait. Angelino looks comfortable and makes some nice crosses, but he hasn't been defensively challenged, says Wasser. Dairy Milk says, Beyond Ultra Gaming. Hi, Adam. Hope you're well. Sean, you too as well, buddy. Danny too, I mean. Nice to have you in the house. Hey, James. Hey, we're doing all right, man. We're doing all right. Could do with losing some weight. I'm not going to say that for the next few months, but doing all right, guys. Faris, just watched the preview game. Great conversation. Yeah, it was great fun. Great fun with those Lyon guys. I did have somebody else lined up for tonight. But he's flying out of the country tomorrow, so he's had to cancel. So I did have somebody. Something I set up a week ago. Really looking forward to this, and sadly we had to cancel. Beyond Ultra Game, I think Douglas Luiz would be a great player who can make a long-term option in midfield. I think more than likely it's going to be next summer. He's similar. He's in a similar sort of mold for a defender. In a defensive side, he's a better defensively than Rodri, and he sprays the ball around as well. So I think he's a really exciting talent. This is not the third kid. This is just a training top. There's so many tops that City put out, to make money out of mugs like me. 1-0 to Leipzig, says James. Well. A lot of people will be happy with that, Faris and James, with Leipzig if they win that, because Atletico Madrid are a tough nut to crack. JSG says, I think we should get Koulibaly. We might well do that. James says, if anyone's watching the Leipzig game, then what are your thoughts on Upamecano? People are quite like him, actually. JSG, in my opinion, as a City fan, it should be between KDB, Trent, and Sadio Mane. I would say KDB, if not Trent. He's a fantastic right back. Yeah, I think, I like Mane, the way he started the season. I think he was a main driver for Liverpool getting that massive lead. But Trent has put in some cracking numbers as well. Guys, I just got to say, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. Give us a thumbs up. Let's get them thumbs up. We've been doing really well on the live streams, getting those thumbs up to about 30, 40, even 50 at times. And I do thank you for that, guys. Paris says, Upamecano, he isn't bad. He's fearless on the ball and takes risky decisions when pressured and succeeds. Only 21. So that's interesting. City Original says, Trent for young player and KDB for best PL player and Ballon d'Or. Well, there's no Ballon d'Or this year, City Original. That's been cancelled. Trent will be the PFA's Young Player of the Year. He has to be, because I think he's in both categories. You can't really, ignore him for the young player, because none of the other young players are in the full category, so it's got to be him. It's not the third kit. I don't know if that's the second time that's been asked. RB Leipzig 1-0 to Atletico at the moment, says Raymond Daniel Samai. Thank you. I've heard of Diego Rosa. That's excellent from Beyond Ultra Gaming. A Brazilian kid who's 17 years old. We're after them, aren't we? Angelino's playing for RB Leipzig right now. Who'd have thought of that? Absolutely City original. I mean, is it possible that he could, if City end up playing RB Leipzig in the final, or I'm guessing, would he be banned? Would he be banned from the final? Let's move this a bit closer. Let's get rid of that. I reckon I've got another laptop here, so I'm going to close that. And that's given a bit of distortion as well. City original, just thinking if we get Bayern in the semi, it would be the second time we've met the Germans, as we've already beaten Der Spiegel 1-0 this season. Hey, City original. I like your thinking, buddy. James says it would be the first time a referee from UEFA would be on our side. Yeah, absolutely, James. We never get them on our side, do we, really? Jesse, how do I check all the City players' statistics, mate? When I want to check, I go into the Premier League's. If I want to check the Premier League stats, I go into, and that's usually what I want to check. I go into the Premier League's website. That's what I use to check City stats. How do I check Man City player stats? Well, that's what I just said. Go on as I said, Premier League. Go on the Premier League website. It's all there. You can go on other places like, I guess, Transfermarkt or maybe Who Scored. I don't look at any other stats sites normally. Raymond says, please let us don't think Leon is just a walkover, as we should focus on the counter and try to seize the counter and beat them. Yeah, absolutely, Raymond. We cannot underestimate them. They're a very, very good side. You don't get, as I said, you don't get this far unless you've got something about you. I would cash in on him, as I don't think he's the fullback that fits that system. Beyond what we're giving up. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that now. Angelino, obviously, he's playing for RB Leipzig. Now, you know, they want him next season. Now, there's talk about them saying because of the COVID-19 situation, they can't afford him and they want to get him on loan again. City may have to just go down that route and loan him out again. Unless somebody else comes in and wants to pay 20 million quid for him, I think City will sell it 20 million quid. I think there was talk last summer people paying 25 million for him. So I think if City can get 20 million for him, I think they'll be happy. How would City get past Neymar and Mbappe? Hodge, well, the problem with Neymar is he's got plenty of skill, but he's a greedy so-and-so, and he's a lazy so-and-so. He's certainly not the third best player in the world right now. So I wouldn't worry about them too much, honestly. Kyle Walker will have Neymar in his back pocket. Faris says, I know it's a strange comment, but my second favourite manager is Simeone. Wow, wow, wow. That's the best way to do it. I know this is out of subject, but are we taking UEFA to court of the reputational damage or not? No, James, we won't be doing that. I really doubt it, because we'd have to obviously show the reputational damage and prove that there's, I suspect, financial cost to us. And City don't want to do that. And one of the reasons they don't take journalists to court as well is that City would have to give out a lot more information than they would like. A lot of private, confidential information. If you look at the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard case, you know, all the stuff that's come out of their texts and emails or whatever, very unsavory, and a lot of private stuff. So City don't want to give their opponents access to all this. Peter Kelly, hi, Peter. As Dybala's up for sale, who would you pick, Dybala or Martinez? Oh, you asked me. I don't know, honestly, Peter. One thing I don't know enough about them, but I'd go for whoever won. If we were looking at the two, whoever was the keenest to come to City. City original, should City offer 30 million and Angelino for Upamecano? Now that is a very good deal. That's a very good deal. You know, values Angelino at about 20 million euros. I think Upamecano has a 45 million euro release clause in his contract for next summer. GSG, who do you hate more, Liverpool or United? I would say, yeah, I hate United. I've always hated United. Liverpool I dislike at the moment. Looking at Neymar's finishing against Atalanta, he wouldn't get a chance at our defences beyond Ultra Gaming. Faris, I wouldn't count on that game beyond Ultra Gaming. Neymar is much better than that. what's James saying? In terms of evidence, all you have to do is look at 95% of all the sporting journalists for the Daily Mail, and you'll find enough reputational damage. But the problem is, James, the problem is with reputational damage, you're going to have to prove it and prove what you've lost as well. But the biggest problem is, I think, and why you get lots of journalists in all sorts of disgusting things about our owners and us fans. The club don't want to go to court because, what do you think is going to be talked about in a 2-week court case? There's going to be a lot of salacious things, and the defence team are going to have access to Somerset City's records or something. It's a crazy situation. You don't give that. I think they'll do it by quieter means. Hi, Harry. Harry's going for Martinez. Peter's put, not let me have the splinters in my backside. That's fence hitting. I'll go for Martinez. Dybala hasn't done enough for me yet. Beyond Ultra says Dybala is an attacking midfielder who can play also as a striker. Second striker, really. But I'd go for Martinez. What would the link to João Felix? He's a flop, especially for the money he cost Atletico. I don't know about that link. I don't think it's a serious link, to be honest. Maybe someone's put the feelers out, like his agent, just to see if anybody's ready to bite. Right, let's go through some more stuff. Okay, let's talk about. I did this video. I'm going to just talk about him briefly. Is a kid called Jolson Fernandes, and funnily enough, I do a video about Jolson Fernandes. As if by magic, it comes out this evening. It come out at 5 o'clock, 5:30 today or something. A story about this kid called Fernandes, Jolson Fernandes. It's now the headline is Chelsea transfer news. Well, it's about Chelsea transfer news, but it's saying Chelsea rival Man City and Arsenal for Fernandes. Now, basically, Fernandes, without going into too much detail, you can go and watch my video if you want more detail. He's only 17 years old, and Sporting want 40 million quid for him. Arsenal apparently have bid 30 million, including players and cash. Sporting said no. A lot of the other big clubs have pulled out because at 30 million quid, people like Dortmund don't want to pay 30 million quid. That's not their business model. It's not their modus operandi. It's not the way they work. So they pulled out. Barca struggling for cash. They can't go to these sort of levels. They're crying about the money that they might have to pay for Garcia at the moment. So they're not going to pay 40 million for this kid. Sporting will let him, are determined not to let him go below his, or at least around his release clause, 40 million quid. There's not many clubs who are ready to pay that. City might be. And you can argue it's a lot of money. Watch my video to see what I think about the fact it's a lot of money and whether it's stories has come out there. Now, Italian newspaper Tutto Sport, I can't say it. Italian newspaper Tutto Sports brings today a big headline linking Juventus star Paulo Dybala, can't even spell his name right, I don't think, to Manchester City and Real Madrid. It really makes it look like the English and Spanish club are going after the forward this summer. So let's see what they say. There's a doubt at Juventus regarding Dybala's future of the club. The club are currently negotiating his new contract, and due to the pandemic, they're having to use intermediaries instead of speaking directly to his staff. That's a bit odd. It said that Dybala wants 50 million euros a season, which is about 260 grand a week. Juventus are trying to lower his demands by including some interesting bonuses in the deal. The striker's current contract with Juventus expires in 2 years' time, which is why the old lady wants to solve the situation soon, as it could be obviously very dodgy if you get to the last year of someone's contract. Speaking of a possible sale, Tutto Sport says Juventus continue to value Dybala at 100 million euros. The other option is a swap, and that's where the Man City and Real Madrid are named. They claim that they could get Gabriel Jesus in a swap with the Premier League side, that's with City, while the likes of Isco and Marco Asensio are the interesting options at the Santiago Bernabeu. But since there's nothing about the interest from City or Real Madrid, it sounds like actually a plan from Juventus to find a deal with those clubs rather than Pep or Zidane going out of the way to try and get Dybala. So basically, Juventus, the story seems to be Juventus are worried that he's not signing his new contract. He doesn't want to take a pay cut. He wants more money, by the looks of things. and he's with only 2 years on his contract. They're just testing the water, as you do. Let's go through some other stuff then quickly. I'll try and go through these quickly. Now, it looks like, according to the Manchester Evening News, which I actually don't believe these stories, it can't all be true. But anyway, according to sources in Italy, City are claimed to have made a big bid for Napoli defender Koulibaly, tabling a £57 million offer with add-ons. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to turn that down. If someone wants to do an interview with me, just turn that noise, that ringer off. So there's talk about the Koulibaly. It seems to be progressing in the rumours, that is. So we'll see what happens with that. And there's also a rumour about Cheeky's being busy pursuing a £27 million move for Bayern midfielder Thiago, who's a target for Liverpool. That's about €30 million. Now, I think he's in the last year of his contract. He doesn't want to stay at Bayern. Apparently, I was listening on the radio tonight. He's already told his Bayern mates, he's already said his goodbyes. He's going to leave. He said he wants to go. He's only got 1 year left. Bayern want to get as much money as they can for him. They want 30 to 40 million euros. Now, Liverpool, question is, are Liverpool prepared to pay 30 million euros now, or would they ask him to wait a year to get him on a free? I don't know why Liverpool can't pay the money. You know, they made so much money from the Champions League over the last 2 seasons, and the league as well. You know, they made tons of money. I don't know why they're scrimping and you know, scraping around right now. But apparently, MEN is saying a well-placed source at City are pouring cold water on both stories. Now, the club has never denied that Koulibaly is a target, and they're still interested in the Senegalese international. Now, apparently, the two clubs are a long way apart in the valuations of Koulibaly. Napoli owner Aurelio De Laurentiis wants 80 million quid. I think it's going to come, I said to you before, I reckon it's going to come to about 65 million quid, hopefully a little bit lower. So that'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Let's go through the rest of my stories. Now, Aguero, you might have seen him in the new training kit. It looks like one of the old training kits, actually, the Nike ones from like 6 or 7 years ago that I've got. But he's still recovering from injury. Now, the latest report in the Mirror suggested Aguero has told friends he won't be available for the Lyon game. That's what I told you already. But he and City are hopeful he could play in the semi-finals next week if City were to get there. I'm not so sure. You know, I always said best is on the bench. So what else is going on? Liverpool. Liverpool have come up with a little bit of they got a blue number in their kit. You know, it's well, they got Nike. Nike just copy and paste merchants, and you know, they're just copying City. Let's I've seen some of the City training in Lisbon. That looks like he's still got a little bit of skill to him. Loads of pictures on the City website, or the City social media, and in the MEN. Next, we're going to talk about Wolves. Okay, now Wolves have asked apparently for either City or United on the opening day. Now, this is according to I'm reading it in the Manchester Evening News. Now, Wolves have asked for the 4 teams involved in Europe this month to be paired together in the opening Premier League fixtures. That will give them extra time to recover, as City and United's opening fixtures will be postponed due to their involvement in the Champions League and Europa League latter stages. The other 2 clubs involved were Chelsea and Wolves. Now, Wolves obviously went out this week. They're currently scheduled to begin their campaign in just over a month. City and United will get an extra week. And obviously, they're still in the competitions. So Wolves are suggesting that they play City or United, and I guess Chelsea play City or United. You could argue that's kind of fair. Would City prefer that to playing another team that's had 3 or 4 weeks rest, when you know, or have had basically potentially 3 or 4 weeks rest more than Man City had a proper pre-season? Ours is going to be a mess. We're not going to get enough rest. We're not going to get a proper pre-season. It's going to be really tough for City. So maybe that's a good way. Maybe that's a good start. You know, it could be the first 2 games of the season. You could mix, or in the first 3 games, mix those clubs. So City play Wolves, Chelsea, and Man United, teams who are in a similar boat. That would be a really interesting thing. So anyway, that's out today. That's something that Wolves are asking, because the dates have been released, I think, for the Premier League. Obviously, the actual matches haven't. Something else about Koulibaly, he's dreaming of a move to the Premier League. That's La Repubblica have said that. They're the ones who talked about the 57 million quid offer. Now, apparently, City are looking to extend the loan of Scott Carson from Championship side Derby for a second season, according to The Athletics, what I said yesterday. This is now in the Manchester Evening News. He's not played for City. Taking a key role in the goalkeeper department, though, appeared on the bench several times as Claudio Bravo struggled with injury. Crucially, Carson will fill a homegrown spot in next season's Premier League squad, with US international Zach Steffen set to replace the outgoing Bravo as City's number 2. All stuff I've told you months and months ago, guys. So it's I'm not going to say it's reaffirming, but it's just out there again. Angers set the 8 Nouri price. Okay, and there's a kid called Rayan Nouri. He's a 19-year-old left back, exciting talent. He's like a winger, guys, and a very, if he was playing wing, you'd be excited by him. Now, according to L'Equipe, the French sport paper, they've said Angers will look to take advantage of supposed interest from City and United to spark a bidding war for the 19-year-old left back. Now, Nouri was said to have been shown around the facilities of both United and City last month. He's a cracking prospect from, he spent most of his time around Paris, but he moved to Angers last season, I think, or the season before. That was quite funny talking to the French guys. I mean, they don't even know about that. So I'd like to think my knowledge is increasing, but while some comes in, some comes out as well. Carabao Cup format has been confirmed. Now, the Carabao Cup will begin on September the 5th, with the first 4 rounds to take place on successive midweek slots. They're going to get it in very quickly. City will begin their defence in round 3, as they're in European football, with that tie to take place on September the 22nd or 23rd. In another change, the semi-final will be a one-legged affair, unlike the 2-legged ties that City have become used to over the last 3 seasons. The final will take place on February the 28th, 2021. So they're going to get it started and get it done very, very quickly. Get everything, the first 3 rounds. So that the first 4 rounds will be finished by the end of September, by the looks of things. FA Cup replays, they're scrapped for next season. It's just to have fewer fixtures in the season. City will enter the Cup in the 3rd round on Saturday, or the weekend of Saturday, January the 9th. The price fund has been reduced due to the financial implications of the pandemic, with the winner taking home £1.8 million. Okay. We still don't know when the new Premier League fixtures will be announced because of City and United. In theory, they could be playing each other in the European Super Cup in Budapest on the 24th of September. That would just make a mess of huge issues in the Carabao Cup. If City win the Champions League and they're playing in Budapest on the 24th of September, well, they're supposed to play in the Carabao Cup on the 22nd or 23rd. Now, I think City will have to do a Liverpool and decide which is the most important fixture for them. City's EFL Trophy participation confirmed. City's under-23 side, the EDS, Elite Development Squad, will once again compete in the EFL with EFL sides in the EFL Trophy after the format for the competition was confirmed. The group stage for the tournament will take place on Tuesday, 18th of August at 1. The draw will take place on the 18th of August. So forget that. Manchester Evening News have not really got their story right. City are going to face 3 sides from League 1 or League 2 in the northern section. Now, last season, City reached the last 16, the quarterfinals the season before, knocked out in the group stages in the season before that. Any more? Premier League is going to start, as we said ages ago, on the 12th. The fixture list will be released by the 21st of August, so that's before the Champions League final. So, there's going to be fewer games at Christmas, 4 games in 14 days between December the 19th and January the 2nd. Obviously, this TV are going to come in there and do some mixing of things around. Are there any more stories? Have I got anything else? Yes, we have. We've got more stories. We don't stop. David Silva looks like the cat's out of the bag. He's going, we know that already. He's going to Lazio. Apparently, one of his new teammates has let the cat out of the bag on that. You can, if you want to read more details, you can see it in the match review news. But to be honest, I'm not that fussed because yeah, we know it's the likely destination for David Silva. Anything else? A little story about what Bruno Guimaraes has said. He's probably he's been Lyon's best player this season. He plays for midfield. Now he says we have a very high level opponent ahead of us, but we too are a good team. After all, if we want to progress in this final eight, we have to beat opponents like Manchester City, even though they are a very strong club and play great football. Nice bit of respect from Bruno Guimaraes. Let's just see. And yeah, I talked about that story about Jolson Fernandes. It's in the Manchester Evening News as well, if you want to go and read it there. So loads of stories for you tonight. I'm absolutely knackered reading, going through all that. And I'm going to go and have a look at what you guys have said and try. I don't know where that shadow's coming from. Let's just try and work out where that shadow's. Is it there? I don't know where that shadow's come from, guys. Turn my light around. Maybe that will help me beat that shadow. Wow, loads of stuff. Loads of stuff. I walk around in his back pocket. City original. Let me just try and keep up. Okay, City original Felix. He's a flop. He's struggling because of Atletico. So where they play, Felix is an attacking talent, and Atletico don't really play to his strengths, I don't believe. Raymond, so we need to strengthen our defense. Anytime we lose our opponents, I feel sick. Please, next season we need a solid. But I can't do anything about it. That's Pep. Tim, I'd go for Martinez. Says beyond Germany has a full striker similar to Sergio. He's a full striker. Sorry. Hi, give Trossard a chance. I will never forgive Pellegrini for preferring Borneo over Dybala. See original. Why are we not after Unal Nunez or Ruben Diaz anymore? I don't know. I mean, I'm only going to go on what's out in the rumorland. I know. I can't make up the rumors myself. Pardo Oaks, nice to have you tonight. Upamecano, unbelievable for Leipzig tonight. 45 million euros, I think, is his release clause next summer. Only 21 years of age is Pardo Oaks. Terrific defender, best I've seen so far. Gave Trossard chances. Upamecano over Koulibaly all day long. Well, I think the worry is that if we were to lose someone like Laporte next season again, it's a bit higher. Okay, oops, let's. I'll get this sorted out eventually, guys. I don't know where the darkness has come from, but I think the issue is if Laporte is injured again, we want someone experienced, yeah. And Upamecano is only 21, and if we're going to lose potentially Stones, Otamendi, and Garcia, we've got no experience left. You know, Fernandinho is our experienced defender. If we lost Laporte again, how do you get through the season? That's the worry. Penalty to Atletico. Penalty. It's 1-1. Wow, you guys are keeping me up to date. Napoli are supposedly interested in Zinchenko. We should offer him as part X for Koulibaly. Yeah, well, I wouldn't do a part X. I'd just say let's pay what we want for Koulibaly. Zinchenko's worth at least 30 million quid. Liverpool are shrewd to City original, picking a blue for a shirt. Torsten's better than Koulibaly, says give Torsten a chance. You're not biased there by any chance. Beyond Gemad tells Zinchenko instead of buyback clause in his contract so we can bring him back if he impresses at Napoli. GSG, I mean, I don't hate them. I respect Liverpool. I have nothing against them. Well, the thing is, GSG, I grew up where everybody around us was a red. They were Man United or Liverpool fans, and that was pretty much it. And Liverpool fans have been unbearable in the last 10 or 12 years. Based on what I've seen, Ray, is that Angelino much better than Mendy and Cancelo offensively. Interesting. Carissa Shedrack, hi. I hope you're well. When a fixture's coming out, I think I said that they'll be out before the 21st of August. So we're talking in the next week or so. Chelsea playing United on the opening day. Where have we seen that before? No, it stuffed them 4-0 last season. Will the short break after the Champions League into Premier League and pre-season that will have effect influence our season? It has to, Farid. It has to. If we finish, let's say we get to the final, we finish on the 23rd, we party for a day or two. So by the 25th, we're finished. Okay? We have 1, 2. We'll start back around the 20th. Okay? That's 3 weeks into September. We'll have almost a week in. We'll have 4 weeks between, if we get to the Champions League final, 4 weeks between the Champions League final and starting the season. That's, you actually need to give the players 30 days off. Okay? Where's your 30 days off going to come from? If City get to the Champions League final, we will not be able to give our players 30 days off and give them a pre-season. It's ridiculous. Most other clubs, you can cut it back a little bit. You have to cut something back, either the holiday or the pre-season. Yeah, or you can cut back the. You can give them the holiday, but tell them that they need to be more ready for when pre-season starts. But City don't have that time. Other clubs have finished their football and they finished for like 3 weeks. They've finished for 3 weeks already. So it's just not fair on City, or United, or Wolves, or Chelsea. City Original says hopefully they'll stick to a one-legged semi-future. I think that's what's going to happen. City Original. UEFA Cup replays, absolutely. Is the Asian Champions League final used to be 2 legs, but they changed it. It was very weird to see. Absolutely, Farid. Let's hope we get League 2 side, says Beyond Ultra Gaming. Imagine playing Liverpool first game of the season. It would be really bad for us. It would, because they'd be just fitter, and would be up for it, but they'd just be fitter. Why Bernardo? Look, I think it's just unsettling. They can't afford him. There's your answer. Oops, I'll just drop this. What have I done here? They can't afford him. I'm just making. Oops. That wasn't clever. I'll have to go and look for that later. Drop something off my. When you're fiddling with something, when you really should have just left that. Anyway, I'll find that. I just realised we will be fine as Stefan, Aki, Torres, or any other signings we make or don't play in the Champions League. Could play in the Carabao Cup side. There you go. Well, no, it's a Super Cup Beyond Ultra Gaming. So if we win it, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. But if we win it, it's in a high Belito. Would you prefer Barca or Bayern? Honestly, don't care, Belito. If you're going to win it, you're going to beat the best. SJ, don't worry about the dislikes. I don't want to. The reason for the dislikes is J is so that we talk about it all the time. So they deflect. But we're 47 minutes in, so I will talk about it. I will talk about those dirty reprobates. Basically, it's the same 2 or 3 people coming on with several different accounts. They've been doing it for 14 months. 14 months. Giving me abuse. 14 months. Grown men, not kids. These are grown men, okay? Deplorable, disgusting, disgraceful, okay? Every single one of them. And I may do something about this tomorrow. Things that have been thrown at me, slurs thrown at me again today by somebody, all stemming from Andy. It all stems from Andy, because he's a despicable, dirty, really dirty kind of individual. And because of him, crap attracts crap. They are like flies around dog crap. Okay? And he's the dog crap in all of this. So because of the things he said about me last year, I still get people throwing slurs at me this year. Really childish trolls, like kids. You wouldn't even get this in a 6th form. These kids. So that's where it all comes from. And then YouTube sees that they're all from similar people, or same accounts, and chucks them all out. Most of them. So you keep asking me. That's the reason. It would stop if Andy grew a pair, it'd stop. But since he's basically a man child, it won't. Cheers, Killian. Nice top. Yeah, I got it from the City store when they released the away kit. On the day they released the away kit, I went there 9 o'clock in the morning to get the away kit, and I saw this and I thought, I really like that. Really like that. So it's one of those things. If I'd ordered it online, I wouldn't have got this. I wouldn't have seen it. But once you're there, you see it, you think, wow, that's really quite nice. And the thing about the dislikes, guys, who cares now? You know, anything you put out, they'll give you a dislike. You know, if you put a video about Mother Teresa, those juveniles, no, they're not juveniles, they're adults. Those sick trolling adults will come out and give you down ticks. So whatever you put out, that's what it is. That's right, beyond older gaming, Barca cannot afford Bernardo Silva. City original Baffle, that's why we need to sign Carson again on loan. Pointless, we could just be preparing a young, hungry keeper instead of an old. No, but the problem is if you keep a young, hungry keeper, yeah, why would they train with the first team? Because they're not good enough. And why would they sometimes be on the bench? What's the point of putting a 17-year-old kid on the bench? Like when Bravo's been injured. So you've got a 17-year-old kid on the bench like Daniel Grimshaw, who has gone out on loan to somewhere like, was it in the National League or League Two? I think it was in the National League. Okay. Why would you have somebody like that on your bench as your second keeper? Keep the experience of Scott Carson in case something goes wrong. You can't take the risk. So you might have a young, hungry keeper, but what's the point of not playing that young, hungry keeper? They need to play as well. And if you're a third keeper, you don't play, as Scott Carson has shown. Where will the Carabao Cup semi-final be played if it's only one leg? That's a good question, Killian. It might just be who's first out of the hat. You want to Leipzig? Fantastic, Faris. So that can be only one reason yet. 14 months. It is one another game. You know, can you imagine? Can you imagine? I see it sometimes when someone comes on with it's one person. One person comes on with 16 accounts. Okay, because I've seen it in a space of 5 minutes. I got 16 dislikes in the pits. You can see the stats going through. In space of 5 minutes, 16 dislikes. One person has done all that. One person has done all that. What a waste. Yeah. And then immediately after that, another video gets 16 dislikes in 6 minutes. So someone's wasted at least 11 to 12 minutes of their time to do that on 2 videos. I saw it today. Bang, 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 3 videos again. So they're wasting so much of their time. They're wasting so much of their time to be ridiculed because they are ridiculous people. Absolutely, give Torsten a chance, Bolito. It is pathetic, Bolito, and I will do something tomorrow. Yeah, GTR, grown man, more like a grown man with kids' mind. Absolutely. Look, a grown man. I'm going to say some stuff. I'm going to say some stuff. A grown man. Boasts about how much money he's got. A grown man who boasts about how much his kid's watch is worth. A grown man. And I repeat, when I set up Man City Fan TV with him, we would talk. I had Max, and he said to me that someone he knew who had businesses and whatever, he said, for the best editing software, you need a Mac. And he said he needed to get one, but he couldn't afford one. So this is a guy who's going around talking about how much money he's throwing around, and he might have done well in his business recently, talking about that, who couldn't afford to buy a laptop. Was it 3 years ago we set it up? In the summer that we set it up. He couldn't afford to buy a laptop. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with not being able to buy a laptop, not being able to afford to buy a laptop. And it was actually me who was going to buy a laptop for him. Okay? Because his was his couldn't handle editing, and it was too slow, or I think it crashed and died in the end. But he couldn't afford the laptop. But he wants to tell everybody he's this big man with loads of money. Hey, look, at my kid's got a £5,000 watch. Sad. Really, really is sad. So there's a bit of truth there. There's a bit of truth in that. I'll say some more stuff at another time. It will, he just wants more and more to come out because he knows a lot of water's passed under the bridge. But the guy's got no shame. The guy's got no shame. There's so much. That outside beyond Roger Gaming. They wouldn't put up with that. They wouldn't put up with that. Angelino with another assist. Well, there you go. He's a man. Muric was a decent backup. The thing is with Muric beyond Roger Gaming, he needs to play. He's had 2 seasons where he's played about 3 games. He played 1 game for NEC Breda when Bravo got injured and he got recalled. So he only played 1 game, a 3-0 win. And then I think he played 2 or 3 games for Nottingham Forest, then he got dropped and never got back. So he's hardly played at all, which is no good for him. Absolutely, Peter. Yeah, Peter, generally I do. Excuse me, but today they're extremely rude. When they're rude about your wife, when they're very happy to bring your wife into this, and that's what Andy did. That Andy was, and I will say this again, he's a despicable individual and a hypocrite. He used to bring my wife into conversations, just try and slag me off, and then he would complain if I mentioned the name of one of his children who are grown adults. And he accused me of bringing his family into it. But he was slagging me off, trying to use my wife to slag me off. And that's the kind of depravity of that individual. I hope this gets back to his wife. The kind of behavior. I wonder if she's proud. I wonder if she's proud of the man she's married to. I wonder if she's proud of that. That despicable lowlife. Wonder if he boasts to his wife about what he does. How childish and shameless he is. I wonder. I doubt it. Because that's how small a man he is. Now, I'm not bothered beyond Notre Gaming. I'm not bothered, about overtaking them. I could have shut them down, or I could have done something about that. I chose not to. I just walked, really just walked away rather than kicking up a stink. This is the level of the guy. This is the level of the guy. Okay, I love this story. I love this story where we tried to set up. We're going to monetize the account, so we need to set up a bank account. And we set up a limited company because, to be honest, I didn't trust him. He's an untrustworthy individual. And as a partnership, as we were, whether he doesn't understand legal and financial concepts, we were a partnership. And if he did something wrong, that could have taken me down. And he was doing plenty wrong. Okay. What he did was going to go. I thought, well, if Andy wants to go down, if he wants to take himself down, he can do that. He's not going to take me down. So we were setting up this limited company, which basically it means any liabilities should be staying with the company and it wouldn't come back to me. I wouldn't lose my house because of something that imbecile said. So in about 2 months, he couldn't provide the paperwork to the bank. 2 pieces of ID. That's all they wanted. Was it 2 pieces of ID? He couldn't provide that. And was it 6 or 8 weeks? He couldn't manage a simple thing like that online. A passport and a utility bill or a bank statement. That's all you need. That's all you need to set up an account with a bank. He couldn't do that. And what kind of person, what kind of idiot can simply do that? And then, as usual, what he does, he blames the bank. It's the bank's fault. It's the bank's fault that he can't upload 2 pieces of ID. Yeah? It's the same way it wasn't his fault that when we were filming, when we were uploading stuff at the ground and his laptop would run out, it's not his fault that he wouldn't buy a charger for it. But he used to have a go at me for not having a charger for my phone when my phone ran out. But he wouldn't get a charger for his laptop, a battery pack for his laptop. That's the kind of lovely guy he is. So, yeah, I've lost my thread a little bit there, but I'll just give you an idea. Just give you an idea of what he's like. what got me interested in starting fan TV? Basically, Killian, I'll tell you that story. It's when Blue Moon Rising TV, they stopped because there was no money in it, and the big company backing them stopped paying. Apparently, was it 4 or 5 guys, and they stopped funding it, and they were doing the videos for money. They were doing all the stuff. They were getting paid basically to do what they were doing, and when they pulled out and said, "Look, you can carry on, but we won't pay you," they walked away. And I remember the only one who said anything about it after that I remember was Stephen. He said, if you're getting paid to do something, well, why would you do the same thing without getting paid? Which I understand. And there was nobody filling that space of fan interviews. There's no really. Cheeseman was doing his vlogs, I think. So I talked with Andy and we talked to some other guys, and we were the ones who wanted to do it. So we were going to do it the Centurion season, and because I was still living in France, I said, look, it's going to be very difficult because I'm not going to go to many games. And Andy went along with this, and I realised why now, because he doesn't go to games. Okay, okay, he's not a season card holder, and he doesn't go to many games. But I'll keep that quiet. He only started going when we started the channel, and then it was only home games. If you notice that, when you're looking at away games, you don't see his face. He always had somebody else. In the first season, it was me. Second season, it was Martin. Andy doesn't go to games. You've got to remember that, guys. For all he had to go at Stephen, all he had to go at Stephen for, as well, about not going to games. And Andy's only started to go to games in the last couple of years. Now, he may have been a regular years and years ago, but recently, he don't go to games. So we started it for that reason. Look, it's original. It's the choice I made as well. I walked away. I couldn't carry on with what he was doing. I couldn't carry on like that. The guy, as I said, he can't contest this. He's a liar, a cheat, and a thief, and he can't contest that, and he won't contest that because it's true. And he'll have a say, "Oh yeah, Jack Canary," or that. He's a liar, a cheat, and a thief. Now, if I'm Jack Canary, it's no problem. He could and would take me to court if it wasn't true, and it's true. It's so true it would hurt. This is just going to descend into slagging him off, but I'll give you another story. When we were approached by a big company in the early days to work with them, they ran many fan channels, or they were involved with many fan channels, and they were offering us some money so that they could use our content. And Andy was, both of us kind of negotiating for that. Now, afterwards, Andy kept saying, Andy said it a couple of times at least. He said that they asked us to be more controversial, to be like Arsenal Fan TV. Because, Arsenal Fan TV brings in the numbers because of the controversy, because of the way those guys are. And Andy claimed that they'd asked us to be like them, and we were too principled and we wouldn't do that. That story just wasn't true. Okay, that was made up by Andy to try and show what a wonderful guy, a guy of integrity he was. That was just a made-up story by Andy. And the guy who he claimed said that will agree, because I spoke to him after Andy claimed that, and he said, never would I do something like that. So that's the kind of person you're dealing with. That's the kind of person. Gavin Bazzuna's only 17 yet. We've got a lot of kids coming through. Alexandra, I've not heard of that story, Haj. I'll try and keep my ears open for that. The new Dutch keeper, the one we got, Mickey van Sass, City original. A lot of people wanted him. They thought he was going to go to Ajax. That was a natural step. He said, no, I want to go to City. I want to, challenge myself. GSGA. No, I'm not upset. I'm not upset. I'm not sad. I'm certainly not sad. I'm certainly not sad that I walked away. It's just it's a little bit frustrating at times to have this constant level of abuse for 14 months. 14 months of abuse. So most of the time I just let it ride. I just delete them, just block them, ban them, move on. Once every few weeks I'll say something. What about Rosa? Carissa, Rosa's, it looks like that's almost done and dusted. Everywhere it says it's almost done and dusted. Initial £4.5 million. It'll rise up to over £20 million if all his clauses are met. Leipzig are in. Fantastic. I know, Faris. I know. Bye-bye, Atletico says City original. I read it. GSJ, thanks. Oh, City, he's worse than hypocritical. He's worse. Okay. Yeah, Harry was a Blue Moon Sports channel. I thought it was the interview with the insider at City and his tweets and whatnot, but it's over now. Yeah, cheers, Peter. Yeah, it was. The original thing, the reason I left, there was many things, many problems I'd had with him over the year that we worked together. And the reason I left is what he did with the guy who wanted to remain anonymous. He videoed him without his permission. Now, whatever happened between them, I wasn't party to, but he videoed him without his permission. He wrote to me, because everybody wanted this guy. Everybody wanted to get something, because he was the big news at the time, he was, this Rabin was the big news at the time. Andy had videoed him. I don't know why Rabin had gone, did a Skype meeting with Andy. I'd have done it on the phone, but he did, and Andy recorded it without his permission, without telling him. Even though, Skype does say, you need to tell the other person that you're recording. And then I remember Andy telling me, we've got him now. No, he's not going to go anywhere else. It's like Andy was only bothered about the publicity and the numbers. He wasn't bothered. He tried to come across as I said, a man of integrity, not chasing numbers for the sake of it, but he wants to. He loves the publicity. He loves guys cheering him on. He loves. You could tell the first time he did a live stream, his face changed. First time he did a live stream, and he still does apparently live streams to say, "Hey, I'm going to do a live stream tonight." He was doing a 1-minute live stream. Say, "I'm doing a live stream tonight." Get lost. How sad is that? Beyond logic, I try and go to match against Ellen Road. Wow. Keep your wits about you there. City's photographer said Koulibaly deal is done. Hope he ain't trolling. Me too. We've agreed personal terms. That's what I've heard. City original. I've read it. Okay, that we've agreed personal terms. It's just it really is just trying to figure out a final price. 62 million, 125 grand a week for your contract. 125 grand seems a little bit low. For your contract seems right. 62 million quid seems right as well. He was right on the Ake and Fernandes deal. Well, to be honest, a lot of that has been in the paper. A lot of that, the Ake deal was 40 million quid. We knew that. Ferran was just over 20 million quid. We knew that. They rejected the 57. Well, I said yesterday, I think when I did it, talked about it yesterday, I said about 65 million. That's what I think 62 to 65 million quid is what the deal is going to be about. Cheers, Harry. Thank you very much. Look, I'll be honest, I never had a season card for many, many years because I moved around so much. I would go to games as a teenager, in my 20s, 30s, but I wouldn't go to. I'll be honest, I wasn't a season card holder, but I've been a season card holder for 7 or 8 years. I know my kids were. My kids were going. My youngest was 2 when he started going with me to games. His brother had a season card. And I would mix the two up. One would go once, the other would go another time. And so the eldest went when he was 4. I remember going to Villa Park. It was against Chelsea in 2012, I think, the Community Shield, because they couldn't use Wembley because of the Olympic Games. So I took my eldest in 2012 to Villa Park. So that's 8 years ago. Straight away, and my youngest lad went to see Sergio Aguero's debut, which was in 2011. Was it the 15th of August 2011? It's coming up, I think, in a couple of days' time. So my youngest, he went to see Sergio Aguero's debut, and my eldest had already been to games before that. So, and my kids were going around since 2011, basically 2011, and so yeah, I've been to play. I mean, I remember I went to Robinho's debut. I went with a mate of mine who's a Man United fan. But you got to remember, I lived and worked in London. I did a lot of stuff down there, and I went to away games in London. That's what I used to do a lot when we were down there. I'd go to away games. I'd just read Red Peters comment. So that's kind of what I did. And I had people coming on here and slagging me off for not going to the '99 playoff final. Yeah, right, okay. Beyond Ultra Gaming, look, if all fans can go, shout me up, man, if you need a ticket, because my kids won't be going to all the games this season. They won't be going to many, to be honest. And then it's just a matter. I've always said to people, just pay for the upgrade, and you can come to have my kids' ticket. Koulibaly and Laporte is a class player, and he's very passionate, as should benefit us. 60 million upfront to City Original. My first game was City 1, Middlesbrough 1 in 2000, City Original. I'll tell you a story, actually, about Middlesbrough. That reminds me. After I got married in 2006, On the Monday night, I got married at the weekend. On the Monday night, I took my wife to Man City versus Middlesbrough. In 2006, I think it was, on the Monday night. And we won 1-0. It was a crap game. And and then we went off to Paris for our honeymoon. I think on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, we went off to Paris for our honeymoon. So, so that's my wife's first Man City game was Middlesbrough in 2006. So at least I'm going back, and I think the first replica kit that I can remember getting, was back in about 2001. It's not a nice kit, but a replica kit in 2001. And I remember I used to have a load of City t-shirts and bananas and stuff back in the 80s. A load of t-shirts back in the 80s, but they're all knockoff. When we beat United 5-1, for instance, every man and his dog was making t-shirts about that. So, I mean, these are a few of the things I remember. Peter says 125 grand a week. Bet he struggles on that. Yeah, it's a hard life, isn't it? If we sign a centre-back, Koulibaly, for example, do you think there will be any more signings after? I can't see any. Faris, I think there will. I don't think we're going to stop at Koulibaly. Who knows? This might be Pep's last season, and he's going to go for it. I don't think we'll stop at Koulibaly. I think there's space for one more attacker, one more attacking player. If you think about it, we've lost. Coming through. Yes, we got Ferran Torres, but they're not. Neither of them are the finished article. And Silva was, and Sane was almost there. So I think we will go out and get somebody. My first game was a friendly against Celtic, says Killian. I tell you, talking about friendlies, I remember going to watch City versus Oldham back in the day at Boundary Park, and it absolutely chucked it down. It was so bad the weather, my wife wouldn't let my kids come out. I had tickets for the three of us, and she said, "No, I will not let them go out," because it was absolutely belting it down. And we got, I went on my own in the end. I got absolutely soaked. Don't think we should buy a midfield like Alcantara or Uwa. We should play Bernardo more or start to bring Bernabé through. The thing is, City Original, you can look at Bernabé and you can look at Houssem Aouar or Alcantara. Bernabé's not even anywhere near, and you've got these guys who are already there. I had the IDOS. Oh yeah, I've got an IDOS kit, the blue one. It just reminds me of Sean Gota. Why always me? Lautaro Martinez get him signed. Says Beyond Ultra Gaming. I remember City versus Jamaica Main Road in '98. Wow, that's a long time. Bloodfire. Right, guys. I think I'm going to knock it on the head. I think we'll get a pile of down ticks. Whenever you talk about them, they rouse. They round up the rabble and they all come back and to give me some few more down ticks. Colin Bell's return match, that was been about 1976 or 7. Peter, it's a long time ago, buddy. Guys, I'm going to go. It's past 10 o'clock. Could I do a stream for 4 hours one day, mate, or 3? Do you want me to do a stream for 4 hours, GSGA? I've done an hour and a bit. I've done the last podcast I did with Bolt from the Blue. The last podcast I did with Bolt from the Blue, there's, I think, about 2 hours of footage. But we were on the call. We were chatting for about 4 hours. Yeah, we did finish the podcast and then we just carried on chatting about shooting the breeze, the 3 of us. So I've done stuff where I've talked, for 4 or 5 hours on Skype. But people, I'm not sure how much people would be interested in GSGA, but easy. You've got to have the things to talk about and you've got to have the people to talk to. You've got to be in the mood. Last couple of days, doing an hour and 15, I've not been in the mood for an hour and 15. But sometimes, sometimes the buzz is right and it just keeps you going. And then you don't talk about you don't get on with those distractions. There was one last week. We were on for about an hour and a half. It was fabulous fun. And, people writing to me and said it was one of the best streams ever. It was such good fun. And that's the way it should be. So, guys, tomorrow, Friday, hopefully we'll get Pep's press conference. Hopefully I'll have another 1 or 2 videos coming out during the day. And hopefully we will do something again tomorrow night. Belito would love to meet up for a match next year. Yeah, look, Belito, if we're allowed to go, as I said, I've taken many people, come from all over. I remember taking a guy from Jamal, I think his name was. He's an Algerian guy who's living in Dubai. He came over for, I think it was the Liverpool game. Got him a ticket for that. A few other people, Bolt from the Blue, got him in. Yeah, several people. So I'm always ready and willing, Belito. Even in Formidable Centurions, Harry Mills, you need the place to talk. You need a new place to talk about. Well, yeah, this and that, But look, we've been on for we were on for about 50 minutes nearly before we got sidetracked. Haj, I predicted Atlanta to beat PSG, Leipzig to beat Atletico, Barca to beat Bayern, and City to beat Leon. Well, you got the first one wrong. Has Koulibaly agreed? I don't know Formidable Centurions. It's obviously not official. And I think these things move quicker because now they're out of the Champions League. I hope there's nothing announced. If there's going to be anything announced, I hope it's next week. I don't want, something to be announced on a Friday when we've got a game on Saturday. Not a chance. Guys, I'm going to go because it's knocking on. I've got to find this piece that I dropped. Peter Kelly. Yeah, Peter, look, I always say as long as people are civil and friendly, I'm happy, to have a chat. And who do I like? Koulibaly? Yeah, absolutely, from Formidable Centurions. You put Barca on Atleti. Oh, keep it quiet then. I don't want. Guys, let me go. We're gonna have a busy day tomorrow, and then Saturday it's gonna be even busy. My wife said, "Can we go to the Lake Districts?" She said to me, "Can we go to the Lake Districts on Saturday?" I said, "You're having a laugh." So we're not going to the Lake District on Saturday. I don't mind going out for a few hours in the morning, but I'm not driving up in an hour and a half, 2 hours to the Lake District when there's a match on. No chance. Guys, take it easy. Have a good evening. Cheers, Peter, Formidable Centurions, everybody who's been on tonight. Love you all. Cheers, guys. Take it easy. See you tomorrow.